We're live, maybe.
Yeah.
Holding.
Keep holding.
Keep holding. We're live. I just heard from Billy. We're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SMITE podcast. This is episode what? 1, 2, 3. Really awesome. Yeah. I'm Isaiah, your host. I bring on awesome people from the Titan Forge crew. We talk about SMITE, what they do, all the awesome stuff. And I'm super excited because I have some of my favorite people here with me today on episode 3. Got some fam from the content team. We've got Andy and Leah. What's going on, y'all?
Hello.
How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing fantastic now that you're here.
Thank you so much for the cordial invite. Wax sealed and everything.
Yes, sealed in wax. Yes,
the budget on the show is wild.
I know, right? I don't know how they gave it to me, but it's awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about yourselves. Quick little intros for people who don't know you or watching on stream or listening to the audio version of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, hi, I'm Leah. I am a senior motion designer on SMITE at Titan Forge, and I mainly work on like marketing videos, but my side hustle here is also doing a lot of social content, and more specifically TikTok content.
Yeah. The TikToks, yeah, for sure.
So you're the one.
So you're behind the SMITE TikTok.
Behind the nightmares.
If you saw something cursed on TikTok, that's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my name's Andy Sexton. I'm the creative director of the content team here. Been here for almost like 10 years now. Yeah, I used to be a video editor. I used to do SMITE Showcase. I used to be on stream a bit, but now I'm behind the scenes.
Andy is an OG. He's been here for a long time.
Too long. Everybody keeps telling me. But, yeah,
Why
dude.
are you still here?
Why would you say that, Tim? Well, talk to me, since you both are on the content team, you're in charge of kind of all the forward-facing video content that goes on like social media. Y'all run the YouTube channel. What's kind of a day in the life of somebody who's on the content team look like? What do y'all do every day?
Yeah. I can go first. So, yeah, my job is kind of weird because I kind of get involved in everything that goes out on the channel, like to some degree. So yeah, if we're doing like a live action video, I'll usually be helping run the cameras. Like, me and Isaiah shoot stuff pretty much every other week. But yeah, I help out with scripts. Usually if it's like kind of a funnier idea, I'll kind of run point on that. But yeah, I've helped out with like, cinematics and stuff too. But pretty much anything video wise like comes across our desk, and I'll kind of help set the direction sometimes, but we have an awesome, Leah included, we have an awesome team here, and everybody has amazing ideas. So I'm just kind of like, you know what you're doing? Like, yeah, let's run with it. But yeah, we're just trying to make cool stuff every day for SMITE, and it's a fun challenge every single day.
And cool stuff is made, by the way.
Yeah,
lots of cool stuff.
Hey, thanks, man.
In terms of my daily routine, very frequently I will log in and just kind of search the web of what's going on in the land of social media. Lots of TikTok browsing, lots of Twitter scrolling, checking out what's going on Reddit, and just gathering ideas for stuff that we may or may not want to do if someone will let me do it. But after that, I will work on...
I like how...
Accusatory glance.
Just let me do my thing. No, and then I'll spend a good portion of my day actually animating something, working on like my real projects where I'm putting together battle pass videos or helping with like turnarounds and stuff. But usually when that stuff is like rendering, so when the computer is doing its thing to like spit out this video, I'll spend that time working on something else really quick. And that's kind of when I get to bang out all of the like social content, the silly little memes.
The bangers.
Yes, yeah. Bangers doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the fun little nuggets of my day. And then I'll get feedback, and then I got to go back to my real project.
I was like, oh man, I got to go back to real life, real work.
The job that they hired me for.
It's like, I just want to scroll TikTok all day.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Every time they catch me like scrolling TikTok at the desk, I'll be like, it's research.
That's part of my job. Like, really? Like. Oh, well, you can't take my phone away. I'm scrolling TikTok.
Exactly.
I'm going to try and
you're not my teacher.
You're not my boss. Like, cool. Well, talk to me a little bit about the history of content at Hi-Rez, specifically for you, Andy. Like, a wise woman, far wiser than me, once said, "Cringe is our brand." That woman was Tina, by the way. But I think it's a really cool analogy for how we traditionally communicated with players, because we have a very unique style in how we communicate with players, do announcements. Like, what studio is going to get 5 people in morph suits to running through a park to announce like cross progression?
102 degrees outside.
102 degrees. People literally sweating. Yeah. Or like, who's going to do like a Die Hard hallway fight scene cinematic
Only
for like
you, Isaiah.
I know, right?
Really
Only me for like the biggest beat of the year. And you talked to me a little bit about how we kind of molded the Hi-Rez humor style and what kind of went into like defining how we communicate with players through video content like that.
So I mean, when I started at HiRez, I mean, this is almost like literally 10 years ago. I was just like a for hire video editor. I was working on this YouTube show called Gamesies that was basically like the Muppet Show, but it was a lot of skit-based stuff, and it was kind of like a mix of a bunch of different media. But then when I applied to HiRez, Todd Harris, who used to be the COO here, he had seen some of my work that I had done just out in the world, and he just asked to like pitch some ideas, like, you know, what could you do for our studio? So I did this like kind of short list of ideas, and the one that he like latched onto, probably because he was the star of it, was Minion has Spawned. And I mean, if y'all haven't seen Minion has Spawned,
Minion has Spawned on the SMITE YouTube channel. Watch it if you haven't.
Yeah,
it's great.
But basically, I mean, I would almost say it's like 30 Rock, of where it's like a parody version of what it's like to work in a game studio, and we kind of touched on stuff that was going on in the industry, and it was very rarely about SMITE. It was just about like the culture of working at HiRez and the people here. And I think when that started getting like some pickup, people kind of latched on to like my kind of style of telling jokes and humor. And I think one of the best things about HiRez, like, I mean, over the course of my career here, is that if you have like a good idea and you can execute on it, people will let you do it. They're just like, yeah, try it out, whatever.
They really do.
Yeah.
It's concerning.
But no, I mean, but it was like, I mean, back in those days, like it was myself and Kelly was still here, and then Dustin, who's still on the video team. You know, we would just kind of come in and we just come up with whatever dumb ideas we had. Because like, I mean, today we have, you know, pipelines. And we have people that are professional that, you know things we need to promote. But back then it was like, oh, hey, we're adding diamond skins to the game. What can we get done in a day and a half? And it's like, I can shoot a fake Zales commercial for diamond rings, but it's for skins. And then I guess like 50,000 views. I was like, all right, cool. People like that. But yeah, it was just like a lot of trust and leadership, or just leadership was like, they're doing
their own
thing. They know
thing.
what they're doing. So yeah, it was just kind of like whatever made us laugh. It was like, if we're laughing, somebody else is probably going to laugh. And it works probably about half the time. But yeah, I think like just as we've worked here more, and I think as more people have joined the studio, like, I mean, like Leah, it's like, I think that kind of vibe like just attracts people, because it's like, oh, like if you've seen it, it's like, oh, it's funny or it's cringy depending on how you watch it, but you're still like interested of like, oh, other people aren't doing this, and they probably shouldn't be doing this, but people that have come in the studio, like they want to be a part of that kind of stuff. And people that are designers and artists, like they see that kind of stuff, that we don't take ourselves seriously. And I think it really helps kind of endear us as people that make games, because one of the things that I've always wanted, like here at HiRez, is like, I don't want to come across as like we're a professional group of people, because we're not. It's like we're just a bunch of friends making a game that we care about together, and that's the vibe that I hope has been kind of communicated out to like the community. So did I answer your question?
That was a great answer, Andy. I forgot what I was going to ask next because it was so good. Just walk me through some of the favorite things that you've done in the past, Andy, because your catalog is deep, my brother. You've got Minion has Spawned, SMITE Showcase, Community Contrast, a whole lot of other stuff too.
It ends there. That's
right.
I mean, Minion has Spawned, like that was straight up like nobody cared what I wrote, and that's like, I mean, we were like making fun of like Riot in that series. Like we had somebody that was playing a Riot person. Their only line every time we'd cut to them is just saying like shit, because like we did something cool and they're like, dang it, they did it again. But like, and we like not made fun, but like we had somebody that, I played a version of Jeff Keighley called Jeff Lockley, and it's like we just like make fun of it's like we just make fun of people, and like that was just fun because it was like we were just making stuff with my friends and we were getting paid to do it, which is wild. But I think like recently, the Surtur cinematic this year, I got to write that, alongside like AJ and everybody on the design team. But I think that one was like so cool because they told us Surtur was coming as a character, and it's like, this is the fire giant. So like kind of working backwards from the prompt of the god, and and then being like, there's so much historical context with Surtur in the game being the fire giant, coming up with the idea of like, what if we try to make people feel guilty about killing this dude? And people had latched on because they saw it as like, oh, the gods are like bullying this dude. He should be bad. Like, he's not a big bad. He's just a guy that got his butt kicked too many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was like super, I don't know, felt special because it was like year 10 of Smite. And it's like, this is like the perfect character to kick off year 10. It's like, kudos to the design team for, choosing him, but then finding kind of a hook for the cinematic that connected with the audience. And I mean, we were at SWC to watch people watch that, and just being with the crowd, it's like, oh my God, like seeing that immediate reaction from people, because it's different when you see comments of people like, that's great, like, or fix to this, like kind of thing. But like seeing that palpable reaction of people are like, oh, they're super into this. That's amazing.
That's what I would have given to be in that room. When
when I tell you,
this year,
it was so hype. When I remember the feeling, just hearing people cheer when we premiered that during SWC, being in the arena, like people were freaking out. It was so you just get chills. Oh.
That's why SWC is amazing. It's like we don't get many opportunities for being with that huge of a group from people all around the world that love Smite, and like just seeing when stuff connects like that, whether it's a trailer or just the games or even doing a meet and greet. It's like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I do it for.
Power of people.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Leah. I was gonna say, Leah, I wanted to segue a little bit because Andy kind of teased a little bit, how he started with like Minion Spawn and then kind of moving forward to some of the more recent stuff. Speaking of recent stuff, I want to talk about, the social media and like content delivery landscape is ever evolving. It seems like there's a new social media platform like every 2 days now. Like it's kind of
just spitting them out.
Yeah, it's like where do you keep coming from? It's just like pain. Like especially for people like us who spend a lot of time on social media. I wanted to talk to you about like what's your process look like when you're going to like ideate and like curate content for like all these new platforms, because like we go from like SD to HD and then HD to 4K and now everything's vertical and then everything is short form now, so like nothing over a minute, so it's crazy.
Were you around when like VR and AR had a hot moment?
Yeah.
You had to learn how to put 360 video out, because that was a nightmare.
I think Facebook still has that thing to where you pull it up and you see people like
in terms of process, I know I talked about this earlier, but like a lot of my process is research. It's an ungodly amount of scrolling TikTok, scrolling Twitter, scrolling Reddit, scrolling Instagram, like trying to not get sucked into the rabbit hole of like just consuming content, but actually like paying attention to what you're watching. Why was I served this? Who are the commenters? What algorithm is like? How is this algorithm serving me this specific kind of content? What about it is different from what I'm doing or what I'm seeing? I have my own personal accounts that I scroll through that obviously that algorithm is tailored to what I like. But every now and then I will scroll, like I'll log into the Smite game TikTok and scroll through that to see like how different that algorithm is and like see what keeps popping up for me. Is it the same thing that our viewers are watching? Does that entertain them? I just live to entertain.
Right.
And then me and Kitten of Doom, we're besties.
Shout outs to the goat.
I know. She and I actually share a lot of ideas. She's also kind of in that research trench with me. And so we'll send stuff back and forth and be like, oh, this is funny. I bet we could tweak this to make it ours. And we have a spreadsheet that we maintain. So we have every TikTok that we've ever sent to each other linked into the spreadsheet, an area where we type in like what we think the idea could be, and then just extra stuff of like when do we want this done by, who's going to do it, yada yada yada. So it's chaotic, and then we put it in the spreadsheet, and then from there we both just kind of wait until we have some free time and just kind of knock some stuff out real quick and make a bank of it, and then we try to post as regularly as we can. It's a lot of fun.
What's your favorite TikTok format right now, Leah?
My favorite TikTok format. Well, so one of the things that I have found through because I've been doing a lot of experimentation with TikTok just to see what like sticks. The thing that I have noticed sticks the best is so frustrating because it's actually the easiest, which is we just take a turnaround of one of our skins and just slap on a sound. Audio. Yeah. You actually came up with an idea a couple months back that like took off, and I was like, do you just want my job? Do you
Right.
want it?
Did it again.
No, you had come up with the idea. We had the Fenrir X.
Oh yeah.
And you had found this like hysterical. I don't want to sing because I don't want to get us in trouble.
Right. DMCA.
Because I'll obviously sing it perfectly and everyone will recognize it. But
A lot of glass in here that could shatter.
I know.
But yeah, it was basically an emo cover of a song, and we just slapped the two together, and it just took off like gangbusters. That's yeah, sure. But it did so well, and I was like, weirdly, this is the thing that like our audience just really likes, just silly little audios with silly little skins.
Right. I think it's just all about the memes, because we had the conversation. It's like sometimes the lowest effort content is the stuff that just goes bonkers, and it's just like people just want to see something that they can relate to and think is funny and they'll resonate with.
Yeah. And like I've definitely there have been projects that I've worked on for a day or a week and really kind of finessed it to what I think will be perfect for TikTok or perfect for Instagram. And then I'll post it and it will just like, it's crickets. Like, okay, good to know. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we saw like this is what this return on investment is in terms of time and resources. So I think that's a lot of working in social media, especially if you're creating content, is figuring out the sweet spot between like putting in time and energy and effort and getting results back. Because social media is the beast that requires feeding constantly. So
I know, right?
It doesn't make sense to spend a ton of time creating something that's just going to get thrown away, lost to the wind. Like, doesn't make sense. So there's got to be a happy medium where you can't aim for perfection. You just have to aim for done.
Yeah. I did want to know, I mean, just kind of glossed over it. I want to know what both of y'all's favorite video projects you've like been a part of. I mean, Leah, you've been here 3+ years.
3 years, yeah.
Which is crazy, by the way.
I know. I feel like I got hired yesterday.
Insane.
And now you put me on your podcast. Well, for me, pour moi.
Me personally.
I have been a huge Avatar fan, and I was really excited when, like, within the first 6 months of me getting hired on, like, I found out that we were doing an Avatar crossover, and I was like, please, please let me recreate the intro.
The intro,
Fire, Earth, well, you know, like, and you let me do it, and I just was so happy with how it turned out. Like, it was one of those rare moments of the thing I visualized in my head came out on the screen, which is sometimes really hard to do. That was a really surreal moment for me. Like, I'm working on a real Avatar.
It's crazy. We're just working on crossovers in general from the community aspect. It's just like, wow, I get to touch this IP in some shape or form. It's insane.
Like that original Avatar crossover, like, was the perfect storm of like Nick was the perfect partner because they were just like, yeah, we trust y'all. Like, obviously they gave us approvals and everything, but like any ideas we pitched, they're like, let's try it out. Why not? But yeah, it was insane. What about you guys, Alan?
Oh man, I've been here a long time. Andy, we've done a lot of stuff together, so it's hard to come up with just one, but I can think of a few. The first one you're gonna hate is the Reaping 4. The choose your own adventure.
Dude, that was, well, I didn't have to shoot them.
Shout outs to Jameson back there in production.
Jameson and Dustin.
Yeah, Jameson and Dustin. That was so good. But I think you wrote the script for that one. But that was just really cool. It's something that we had never done before. A lot of work. So again, shout out to Dustin and Jameson because they did a lot of the heavy lifting. But it was just like, oh, we can use the YouTube cards as like a little choose your own adventure. It's awesome. And of course, I got to shout out like the Die Hard segments from Hi-Rez Presents. Like, I think we did one with the data miners, and like I ended up on the Hi-Rez roof for the second one. Like,
permission for that.
Hey, I got up there, like, and it happened, and it's just all while announcing all the cool stuff that we were doing for those years.
Like, meanwhile, E3's going on.
Right?
It's like, oh, that's how they do press conferences. Okay.
Exactly.
We're going to do a Die Hard parody, I guess.
Die Hard, hey, try hard to go Die Hard. Like, it's part of my announcer back. It's so good. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Smite. We talked about it before, but the first iteration of it, where it was kind of a scripted kind of thing that we did, wow, what a time warp. Like, it's so good. I remember I came to shoot bruised because Tina had a 2x4 that she was swinging and accidentally let it go and it hit me in the leg, but it was hilarious. Oh my goodness. Shout outs to Tina. I miss her. But
is she
gosh.
No, she's still here.
I just haven't seen Tina in a long time.
Yeah.
We're all doing like the work from home stuff. Like, I know people are trickling into the office, but that's another thing. Being in the office, we get to like do ad hoc content a whole lot more too. Which is fun.
It's a lot of hey, are you busy? Can you just,
Right, yeah.
just come here? Just come on
Can
over
I
here.
just I remember you came up to me at my desk. He was like, I just need to film this for TikTok really quick. Don't mind me.
Yeah. Just like
It is one thing I do like about coming back into the office is being able to shoot these one-off things real quick. You get to see people's faces again.
Yeah.
I was hired on at the very beginning of the pandemic, and it was a really weird feeling getting hired on and never, I don't think I met anybody from Hi-Rez for a solid 6 months.
Yeah.
I think
Really bizarre.
The first time we met you in person was the SMITE Go Pokemon Go parody.
Yeah.
That was 6 or 7 months after you started.
It's another banger.
I was so nervous. It felt like the first day of school of oh my gosh, I'm going to see
I'm going to meet, right?
Yeah. It was really nerve-wracking, and it was super interesting too because we've talked about how our content is very people forward. We love to shoot our own employees doing their thing. And actually during my interviews when I was in the hiring process, one of the things that they had asked was what do you like about the content that we're doing? And that was one of my answers was I love that you guys use your own people in your videos. You're not you're not trying to be a AAA game studio. We are who we are, and it just felt very authentic, and so
scrappy is the word.
Scrappy is the word that we keep throwing around. But yeah, it was really surreal to see that kind of content and then get hired on, and then a lot of that content dropped off because we're all working from home.
Yeah.
And we did our best. We tried a couple different ways of getting people involved in our videos. For instance, the International Women's Day video that came out this year, we had a bunch of the women at Hi-Rez film themselves using their phones or whatever cameras they had on hand. We edited something together. Yeah. I feel like it's a good stopgap.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets back. I mean, obviously it's different because authenticity, I think, has been a lot of the DNA of Hi-Rez, at least how we present ourselves. And I think it's the revert. It's the other side of the coin of it's authentic because the production value has taken a hit because it's people at home they're trying their best and we'll polish it up. But I think it's still a part of that same through thread, I guess, of how we make stuff. It's really, we're just people, we make games and we're just trying to make dumb videos to support
exactly
this game that we all love. So
we're just trying to have fun on camera.
Speaking of sweet spots, finding the sweet spot of selling the thing that we're supposed to sell, but also having a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, speaking of sweet spots too, shout outs to Cupcake. That's another banger. That was when we went to that Candyland thing.
Oh, right. What was that battle pass called?
It was something Sweet Victory.
Sweet Victory.
Sweet Victory battle pass. I don't know how you got that place to let us go in there.
Is this place called? So I think it's back in Atlanta actually.
Really?
It's this place called Candytopia where it's a really cool setup. It's almost part museum, part kind of photography.
Right.
To get your own selfies.
I could tell it's you go take selfies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Media playground.
Yeah. But we found out that it was their last week, years ago, and we were like, hey, we have a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers. Can we just come shoot something? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah. That's honestly shocking to me that they would be oh, you an influencer to an extent want to use our space for free? It's the entire concept of the space.
I think it was before TikTok had blown up. So I think it was still more photocentric of people taking those pictures or taking that content. But we were no, we're gonna bring a video crew. We'll be in and out in an hour and a half. It's to promote our game, and it's candy inspired too. So there's a thematic tie, and we shouted them out in the video and everything. So, but by the time the video came out, they'd already closed.
Right, they closed. So it was just oh,
sorry, I'll go see them if you're in Toronto. I guess.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Well, we talked a lot about different projects and stuff that you all have worked on. Yeah. I want to go back because I did skip a point. What's the process look like when you all take on a new project? That was the first thing I wanted to ask you all, but we just got sidetracked with great conversation. But walk me through kind of start to finish from the team comes and says, hey, we want to do a video around X. What does the process look like for you all?
I mean, it really depends on the project, obviously. A lot of the stuff that we'll get is closely tied to what's coming out in the game. Yeah. So when we had V Shoujo, one of the first kind of ideas that came up was, we should create teaser assets for each of the featured VTubers to put on their own channel. And Leah did an amazing job.
Those were sick, by the way.
Fun.
You did every single one of those, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. But yeah, no, we'll get the prompt of here's what's coming up, usually 1 to 3 months in advance. So we'll kind of get a heads up. We'll put it in our schedule. But there's a lot of stuff that kind of pops up just week to week of, hey, we actually want to do, double XP this weekend. Like, can we get something to support that? And that's usually the most fun for me because it's like, it's just, I like that pressure of we got to get something out by Friday. Right, so it's Wednesday. Are we going to do that? But I think that's like where a lot of our funniest ideas have come from because it has that kind of like pressure chamber. Like it was when, this is like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was when all those people were trying to storm Area 51.
Oh my gosh,
our Naruto running, and we found out that like, oh wait, we're actually doing like an extraterrestrial sale this weekend.
Right, yeah.
We should totally do a video of like people storming Area 51. So like,
had people Naruto run.
Yeah, we literally sent a company-wide email of like, hey, anybody want a Naruto run at lunch today? Please come outside. We got like 50 people. They're like, yeah, whatever, let's do it. So yeah, I mean, stuff like that, it's like that just comes out of nowhere, and it's like, can we get buy-in from people to want to be a part of it? And usually you always say yes. Like Tina always says, there's people here where it's like, all right, we got a certified yes if we can get, if we get them involved. But I mean, stuff like cinematics, like I write those scripts with design like 5-6 months ahead of the gods. So it's cool because that's usually like the first kind of hint I get of what gods come.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So, but it's like interesting because we're usually writing that before their kit is developed or like they're even before their art is locked in. So you're kind of like working with the team to make sure you're hitting the tone and vibe of how they want to communicate this god. And because the production times are so long compared to some of the other videos we do, we're kind of developing the look and feel of the god together, which is really cool. And before we got to work on cinematics, that was something that our team, we were more reactive to what was coming to the game. And then once the cinematics kind of came across our desk, we were helping influence, in a very small way of like what was going into the game. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like our team is in a very lucky position where people like working with us, but we touch so many different styles of project. Like we've been talking a lot about video, but our team also has, amazing marketing artists too. So like any 2D art or box art or, key art, they're helping develop all of that. So usually a lot of the things that people see when you're not playing the game, that SMITE, we get to like put our hands on in some way, which is awesome.
That's sick. I never thought about it like that. That's really cool.
Yeah. We do basically shape a lot of the visual things that you see on every social platform. We get to be the filter of what do people see and how are they going to react to it.
Sorry, AJ just walked by.
Want to film the reaping? Like
he heard us talking about him. We summoned him.
Yeah. But yeah, to your point, like we are at the very end of the process typically. They tell us like, oh, we have this skin coming out, we have this chest coming out, we have this event happening, make something. But it is pretty exciting to like, when we do get to be a little bit a part of like the creation process. It's not, we don't normally do that. So it does feel good to be like, yay, I'm driving this a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I do want you to talk about kind of how kind of come up with ideas for TikTok stuff, because you run a meeting like every month that's you're trying to get everybody involved.
Yes. It's super fun trying to get people from all other departments to come to a meeting and talk about their ideas. One of the things that I do once a month with Hi-Rez and Titanforge specifically is I send out a company-wide meeting. Anybody can attend. It's completely optional. And I ask people like, hey, if you saw something interesting on social media that you think is funny or that you think we could do better or that we could do a version of, like, come to the meeting, write it down, let's talk about it. And usually, like, at the very beginning of the meeting, I'll have like maybe 5 or 6 ideas written on this like document that's shared with everyone. By the end of that meeting, we usually have like 72.
Full page, like pages and pages.
It's so much fun hearing people like yes-anding, like coming, oh, I saw that too, but I saw this version. Oh, what if we did it with like Daji, or what if we did it with like this chest instead, or what if we have Kuzenbo dancing this TikTok, like it's just a lot of fun. And we tell people like
Mifflin doing the NPC thing.
Oh my god.
When I saw I didn't know that was coming until I saw it posted. I was like,
oh yeah. The amount of comments that were like, I'm deleting SMITE.
It's like, I'm done. I'm out.
I don't blame you.
No, but it's so much fun because one of the things that I very specifically say is like, we're not worried about how we're going to execute. All we're worried about is just like, bring an idea. We'll figure out execution later on. Like, I want to hear your biggest, best, most ridiculous, most funny.
And I've never heard you shoot down an idea in those two. It's always like, no, that's great. Let's put it on the dot. Like, I mean, you can internalize like there's no way we can pull
Oh,
this off.
no,
Like,
no way.
This is a full cinematic. Like, yeah, but it's always like, well, cool. Like an idea can like stem from that.
Yeah.
So you're always like,
you can usually take a nugget of a big idea and be like, well, this is the core of it, and how do we achieve this tiny bit with what is $0 budget?
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
I'm kind of doing TikTok by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I definitely don't credit, like in terms of the content that I've worked on, doing social content. I do not credit only myself with it. Very frequently, it's like this person pitched this idea that turned into this asset that ended up being the best performing of the month. Yeah. And I want that person who came up with that idea to look at that and be like, I was a part of that.
Like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at how many views it's getting. It's
I know. I
viral.
love,
Like,
oh, my favorite thing in the world to do is like if I remember who came up with the idea to like send it back to them and be like, look how much people love this, and they're like, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, yes, so now you have to come back to the next
right, exactly.
Like,
Come back to the next meeting. Give me all of your ideas for social media. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we talked a lot about cool stuff. I want to talk about
Bad
some of the
stuff.
bad stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Not necessarily bad, because challenges can be a good thing, you know, you learn from them and stuff like that. But I want to talk about like what's some of the challenges that come with what you all do on the content team, and like how you kind of tackle them and approach them and think about them when working day to day.
Yeah. So I guess one is recent, and then one is just kind of like historical.
Yeah.
So I would say the recent one was working from home. Like, you know, just Hi-Rez and Titan Forge were great because, you know, once we saw COVID was like, oh, this isn't going away, Hi-Rez very quickly got us set up working from home.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of whiplash of like, oh, wow,
It's like where
how'd
I was in the office last week.
I mean,
and now I'm home.
like shout out to our IT team. I don't know how they did that, but yeah. So I mean, going from being in an environment where you're basically surrounded by your friends every day and just like, let's just like spitball ideas.
Literally just turn on a camera and leave it in the corner sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally every other day we're like grabbing you for some dumb shot, but yeah, and I think
yes, every time.
Every time.
But then going to work from home, you have to be way more purposeful of how you're filming that stuff because people are doing their normal job. And, you know, when you're like, we have everything set up for you, we'll knock it out, we just need you for 5 minutes versus, all right, well, we're going to show you how to use OBS or how to transfer iPhone footage so we get the raw footage from your phone through AirDrop, like that kind of stuff. So it was pretty tricky that way, but it's also like, just my style. When we're shooting live action, I'm more hands-on of like, well, let's try it like this way. Yeah. And when we're just getting footage sent in from us, it's like, well, is it really worth me telling them to reshoot this because it wasn't quite exactly what I wanted? Do I want to interrupt their day for that again?
And not just to jump in real quick, I've seen him when we started doing shoots again in person. I've seen you like watch someone read the line. You go, actually, can you can you say it more like this, or maybe let's swap this word. There's a lot of that happening when you're in person. You can like fix things on site right then and try out a bunch of different things. Yeah,
I mean, especially with like funny stuff, because it's like if we're shooting something we're not laughing, then we're not doing something right. So we can quickly workshop it, or like, we'll just cut this part out where it's not working. But you know, when it's work from home, it's like, well, we don't want to trash this project, so we'll try and fix the post, I guess. So I mean, that was definitely hard. And then, you know, I think as we got safer to be around each other and everything, like we would just have the scripts fully fleshed out, and we would be way more conscious of people's time. And I think it got us to be more efficient with our shoots, but it's just a lot more pressure to make sure we get it right and we're not wasting a whole day of work. I think the other thing that's hard, and it's like just a positive hard, I guess, is positive. Right, we can cut this out, right?
Yeah, just like, no, we're live. Sorry.
No, but I think like a challenge that is sorry, I just lost my train of thought. It's like positive hard. All right, now you can see why we like to be in person.
Positive hard merch coming to you live.
I remember.
Coming to the Fight Shop next week.
I think one of the things is, and Isaiah, you probably have similar struggles sometimes, is we've been working on SMITE for almost a decade, and I want to be sure that we're not recycling things or doing things that people may have seen before, and just like, I mean, my personal satisfaction is like, well, I don't want to do the same idea because that's just easy to do. Like, we should try and do something new. But we're working on the same game for 10 years, and thankfully SMITE has new content every month. Right, so it's like, well, we're getting new prompts every month. That's great. We're getting new ideas.
Fun content too. Some of the skins that I see come through, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrifying. I love it.
The food skins have been a meal of
I know, right?
Of new ideas.
We're really out here eating with the food skins.
Ate, as the kids say.
Pickles.
But no, I think it can be hard if sometimes you're like, I mean, I always default to like, oh, we've done that. And it's like, well, sometimes it's fine if we do it again because we have new players constantly coming into the game, or we have people that might not have played, and if they see something that like, oh, I remember that series, like, yeah, I'm gonna go play Smite again. So that's just like a personal struggle for me of like trying to constantly have new things that get people excited, and not just people outside the studio, but inside the studio, because I always want people to be contributing and helping out with stuff that we're doing. So yeah, I think that's like kind of two for me.
What about you, Leah?
What was the question?
Challenges. No, we had a really good conversation.
Right.
And that was a great answer. Yeah.
Well, for me, mine is definitely, I agree. In the very beginning, work from home was the hardest part of my job because I'm not to be punny, but like I'm a social person and not being able to interact with, and as an artist too, like being able to be in the room with someone and be like, what are you working on? I just need to stop looking at my thing for a second. And then you ask for feedback, you ask for advice, you ask for, well, what if we did it like this? Or, hey, you're really good at this effect. Can you show me how to do that? Like being able to collaborate in person is huge. So in the beginning, the work from home was tough, but it was doable. I did like working in my PJs every day. So that was a plus.
Business casual.
Right.
My dog was not sure what was going on, but he was loving it. But nowadays, I think one of the things that I struggle with is always the ever-changing algorithm, the thing that runs my life, of just trying to figure out, okay, well, what's happening today? Like, a few months back, a lot of the content that I was making was definitely a little bit more centered around like Instagram Reels. And then one day, Instagram, not interested in Reels anymore. Now it's carousels. And it's like, well,
story of my life, Leah.
Lined up a bunch of content for Reels. What am I going to do with this?
What fresh hell awaits today?
And then in that same line, one of the things that I really try to stress is like we don't regurgitate content on every single platform. So we're not posting. I mean, obviously there's going to be some crossover depending on like what we need to announce. Like the more important stuff needs to be announced on every platform. But like the kind of content that I make for TikTok doesn't do well on Instagram Reels. And sometimes there's pieces of content that I make that don't do well at all on TikTok, but then on YouTube Shorts, like they take off. So it's like, okay, figuring out what platforms, like what kind of content, making sure we're not regurgitating content or taking content that exists and just kind of optimizing it for other platforms. So
that's what I call optimizing content. That's another one of my favorite Andy lines from
yeah, like trying to figure out, okay, we're not going to post, for instance, we had this behind the scenes Charon video. We're not posting this whole video as is on TikTok or on YouTube Shorts. Sure. Let's break it up into like nugget sized pieces and make that like that's the content itself. Not the whole video, just the parts, just the meat.
That got more views than the actual video.
I know. But making sure that people don't feel like, okay, well, if I follow the Twitter, then I don't need to follow the TikTok or the Instagram or the Facebook page. Like, we want you to feel like you're getting something new and different from each one of these platforms and making sure that you keep up with what that new fancy thing is because they're changing it every day. It's the disregard, the disrespect.
Who's they?
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That's who.
Be taken off Twitch.
Okay. Well, we have to move on. I'm going to get on my toes. It's going to get ugly. But yeah, outside of like the algorithms, I think one of the things that I personally struggle with is also just the internet can be really toxic. And it is a hard thing to now, like in the last couple of months, I've been a little bit more forward facing. And one of the things that I have to do is like, shut the F up. Like, do not respond to the people who just want to hurt your feelings.
If it feels good, don't tweet it.
It's worse to live by.
It's a lot of writing out what I want to and then deleting it.
Saving in drafts.
Drafts no one should look through my drafts. But yeah, trying to figure out the happy medium of like, making sure my mental health is doing well, especially like I can definitely fall down the rabbit hole of doom scrolling too much, wasting so much time just watching and watching and watching. And I can tell myself all day, well, it's research, but there is a point where it's like, girl, it's not research.
Like, it is 8:30.
Yeah. So the mental health aspect of being on social media, I'm still figuring it out. Still working on it.
There's definitely a balance. It's hard to figure out sometimes because I'm with you. I will scroll Twitter sometimes for way too long. It's just like, wait, I've been at this for a long time. Like, I could probably be doing something a whole lot better with my time. So.
Yeah, but then
I get fooled by it's part of my job. I'm supposed to be on social media. I'm supposed to be seeing what people are talking about.
Really good at lying to ourselves. Yeah. I think timers help, like saying, okay, I'm going to scroll for 30 minutes and like take notes of what I'm seeing. And then once that timer goes off, I got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, let's talk about more fun stuff. Let's switch from the bad challenges. I want to hear, what are some of your favorite things that you've worked on during your time on SMITE? I know we talked a little bit earlier how you all worked on countless projects just because we pump out so much content on the SMITE side. It seems like there's super awesome videos every couple weeks.
It's really cool. You put out something really good, and then the next day you're like, all right, back to it.
It's like, I can't even celebrate this.
I think I kind of answered it earlier.
Yeah, I can keep going. I got 2 more examples we can talk about.
Let's go.
Well, this is way too close. One of the things that I worked on that I thought was like super cool and felt like much more true to like my personal style was the Slipknot Battle Pass.
Oh yeah.
I had so much fun with that. And in the very beginning, it was a little challenging trying to like nail sort of the tone and the voice that like Slipknot exudes.
Oh, that was just a weird one because it's like we've never done a music crossover.
Right. Yeah.
And Slipknot has such a diehard audience that knows Slipknot so well.
Yes.
That's just our fault of like I didn't know Slipknot super well. I mean, I think you had better knowledge of them going into it, but
it's very generous.
Trying to make it look like we're not completely uninformed.
Right. I know.
But, I mean, we had like Kellen on the audio team who
Kellen was stoked. Kellen was very happy about that battle.
He gave us so much advice of just like style and theme of just like what feels like authentic to Slipknot, and like he did the audio mastering on that too, and I mean he's a diehard Slipknot fan, so it was like, yo, I'm mastering a Slipknot song.
Right? It's sick.
That one is in the bank for him. I think it's like coolest things. I think that's one thing that I really, really love about working here is like whenever we do a crossover, especially with like with an IP, like there's always someone in the studio that is super into it and like wants to talk about it.
There's a beautiful man standing outside.
Not AJ.
Not AJ this time.
But I mean, I think, not to get off a tangent about crossovers, but I think that's one of the cool things about how we have our crossover set up is that we set up a strike team for every single crossover. So we get the biggest fans. Like, I mean, like, Kitten of Doom was kind of our number 1 person for JoJo.
Yeah, she was our point person.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking back to, like, Rambo and Transformers and, like, everything. I mean, we had so many people that...
Oh, man, the Magic the Gathering
dude.
crossover. The amount of people who were like...
Let's actually bring AJ in here.
Right? Let's talk about Magic. I'm sure he'd be like, I don't have to work and talk about Magic for a little bit.
I mean, between Aggro and AJ, like, because we filmed the keynote for that announcement, and, like... They went off script because they were just like so stoked to like talk about it. I was like, let's keep it in. Like you can tell how stoked they are about this. But
we definitely want to hear which is also part of the reason why I have the social meetings that I do, because it's like there's someone out there who's into this thing that we have to promote, that I don't have that kind of deep well of knowledge, that if you are a fan of this IP and like you see this specific thing or this inside joke or something, like I want that person to see it and get really excited, like, oh, they might have actually like done this IP well, like they did it right. It's a huge part of it. I was gonna say something else, I totally forgot. I'm just gonna move on. Cool. The other project that I had that I was really happy with was the Temple of You project.
That was awesome.
That was my debut, and it was. I think the day that it actually came out, I was nauseous all day. Not to toot my own horn, but I am someone who has worked on some really big projects. I worked on projects for NASA. I've worked on projects for Adult Swim. I've worked on projects, like I've worked on commercials that have been seen by millions of people. I have never... Yeah, I worked at SMITE. The Temple of You project coming out was the most nerve-wracking, like anxiety-inducing of just like, I really hope people like this. And I think the difference is that the other stuff that I've worked on has been content that like people kind of, it's a one way, right? They're watching it on TV or they're interacting with it in person, but the Temple of You video is something that someone is going to take and share on their own, on their, and
it's
just
super personal.
Yeah, and I wanted people to be able to connect with it or like enjoy the aesthetic of it, that they would want it on their channel. And I remember the day that it came out, I would scroll Twitter and it was just Temple of You videos and screenshots. I was like, whoa, this is kind of a lot.
I mean, for people that didn't see the Temple of Doom, or Temple of You, Indiana Jones.
I know, right?
The Temple of You project, that was when we kicked off year 10 of it pulled your stats from your entire SMITE career.
Yeah.
And you led the creative on that entire project, which, I mean, we were working on that at the same time as SWC asset, like the entire keynote, all of the trailers. And you, I mean, obviously had Scott with the help with the MoGraph team, but I mean, that was a gigantic project. And not only was it a MoGraph project, but we were working with technology we had never worked before because there was this partner we worked with that basically had this technology where it pulled your account data and turned it into a generated video asset. So you're having to work within like proprietary software on top of proprietary software.
Right, lots of limitations to make it look as good as possible and as seamless as possible, make sure nothing broke. It was very difficult. Lots of testing. The amount of testing of this broke, we have to go back and fix this text box or this has a drop shadow that it isn't linked up. It's gonna break. It's crazy just how very, very technical it got.
Yeah, I mean, we were working with like our web team and data team. Like we were working with so many people that were a part of it. But yeah, that was an insane project. That
it was huge.
You pulled that off. That was wild.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh no, that was not a me only thing. The amount of people that it took to make that as successful as it was massive.
Right. Yeah.
I was
the Temple of Us.
Very good. I was very honored to have been even like a teeny part of the process that got to decide and dictate the way that went. So it was very cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, Andy, you mentioned Indiana Jones. My next question, do you all ever watch or take inspiration from things like outside of like SMITE content?
No, I don't watch anything.
You don't watch anything?
I go home, I sit in a white box.
All I do is watch SMITE YouTube channel on repeat.
I did a good job.
Well, I'm sure you all watch and play other things. Like, do you ever take some of what you see out in the wild as inspiration and incorporate that into some of the stuff that you do?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think, I think the obvious one, and I think everybody in the industry, like Nintendo Directs, like when.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to get sued into the dirt.
Yeah, I know, right?
Good job.
But like, just even within the video team, we do like a Nintendo Direct predictions board of just for fun.
Right,
But I think when you
don't win anything,
right? No,
because when you predict Tears of the Kingdom is going to have a trailer, you don't win anything.
That's that'll be a separate podcast.
Not even a coupon, not a
gift card.
I didn't get a gold sticker. No, nothing. Sorry, go ahead. What you were saying?
Anyway. I actually ate all the prizes. We get donuts every time. No, but yeah. So, but watching that and seeing like the online reaction to them is like, that's the feeling that we're trying to get when we do a keynote of like, we want our fans to like see the announcements we're doing and understand like how much it means to them, because we know how important it is to us and our design team and everybody. So trying to like take inspiration from their style of presentation of like, oh, it's cool how they had this Zelda trailer, but they saved it for midway through instead of like it being the first thing or the last thing. It's like, oh, they actually have a peek to like this presentation. And I think like taking inspiration from that, and also just like they're very gameplay focused. And I think if you watch our stuff, over the history of SMITE, we did go from being much more live action and dev focused to, well, people play SMITE. I mean, that's what they really care about. So we've developed like new techniques of how to shoot in game. I mean, we work with Weltsit, who's one of SMITE content creators and just an amazing video producer.
His footage.
He's a master.
His gameplay is
what he does.
Yeah, his gameplay is incredible. But I think like having a team of people that know the game so intimately well, and it's like, well, how can we communicate that feeling through our videos and to get that feeling of somebody that hasn't played the game of like, oh, I actually want to be a part of that. Like, I think just taking inspiration, like, I mean, Nintendo, obviously, I think like Apex, like they do fantastic gameplay trailers, like even back to Titanfall. Like, I think that studio's video content is incredible. But yeah, I mean, even like our funny stuff, we take pop culture references from like anything going on. I mean, like y'all put out that Barbie tweet of like like first
Oh,
night.
yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, I mean, this is like a meme going on. It's a big movie, and it's also just like it's funny. Like so.
Oh yeah, we have a Slack channel dedicated to just, I saw this thing on Twitter, can we whip it up real quick in an hour?
Yeah.
And who's the person that does it? It's me.
Yes. Yeah.
I find myself doing weird things at all hours of the day, and I'm just like, I get paid for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's like some of the inspiration. That was the question, right? Where do we take inspiration from?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, we are always watching video game trailers, what our competitors are doing. Like, we're trying to figure out, okay, what is working for them? Why does it work? What isn't working? Could we make that better? Could we do our own version?
Yeah.
Or do we deviate entirely and do something completely different that no one is expecting? And yeah, I think for me personally, I'm definitely always like looking at like video game TikTok and like what's working, who. Let me formulate words. Who is watching what for how long? What are they engaging with the most? Why does this type of TikTok work for this studio? For instance, like Cult of the Lamb's TikTok presence is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's super cute. First of all, I'm a huge Cult of the Lamb fan. And like
great. Yeah.
their TikTok presence is so cute and precious and like not overly I guess maybe the word twee would be the word, just like cheesy. Like it's just very well done. And then in terms of like Twitter, my favorite Twitter account, not even favorite video game Twitter account, my favorite Twitter account is the Bear and Breakfast Twitter account. Because first,
the coziest account
it
on
is
Twitter.
so cozy. They just post bear content, not even bear from the game content.
Right,
Bear content. They will like quote retweet like the national parks Twitter account being like, this is a black bear, this is how you deal with black bears, and then they'll tweet and be like, Mom? Like,
That's amazing.
it's so precious, and it's wild to see. Like, I love that game. It was a little broken when it first launched, but it was wild how positive the sentiment was on all of their. I've dug. They have no haters. I don't understand how they're doing it.
Yeah, and I would say like even to you said Cult of Lamb. I would say Devolver has been.
I love Devolver.
Like I mean, it has been an influence just because I think we all love their games, but I think that was one of the kind of arguments that we had to do stupid keynote or goofy keynotes. I shouldn't say stupid. It is stupid, but
It is stupid.
yeah, but doing goofy keynotes of like this is a company that does keynotes that they don't announce anything. It's purely just for culture and like getting people like, oh, this is funny. I want to check out their games. And I think we're already doing that stuff for like our series, but I think for like our actual proper keynote, it was like we should try this once, and that was where the Die Hard thing came from. And then we ran that into the ground pretty fast,
right?
but no, I mean, we have a meeting every month called Trailer School where we just pull a handful of trailers to watch together as a group, and not just the content team, but we talk with our monetization team and user acquisition team to just be like, why was this effective to you, or why did this not work for you? And just
or like, are you a fan of this content? Would you watch this if you weren't a fan? And who's not a fan? What does this do for you? We watch a lot of like Marvel. We watch a lot of Marvel trailers.
There was a point where you're like, can we not do Marvel?
I know.
Go around. It's like, yeah, you're probably
we watched
right.
enough.
But I mean, we're constantly watching what people. I mean, not just as like professionals, but like we're just fans of the industry. So
That's awesome. Yeah. We're nearing the end of our time, end of our hour here, but I did have a couple more questions. Like, any advice for people looking to get into the video games industry in like a content role or like a video production role or motion graphics or anything like that?
No, I know that we talked about this earlier, but like honestly, just going online and finding tutorials and following along. I went to art school and got a degree in motion design, which is great and wonderful, but art school killed my mental health. So my suggestion is don't do that. Unless you feel compelled, then by all means do what you need to do. But I think that I've met several extremely talented motion designers who taught themselves. Like they just watched a bunch of tutorials, downloaded free versions or student versions of different applications and like just practice and started taking what they learned from one tutorial and another tutorial and putting it together and like coming up with fake, campaigns and just practicing, and it's a lot of practice. It's also a lot of who you know, unfortunately. Like, I know everybody says that.
Network, get on LinkedIn, join those clubs in college if you're, or even in high school. I know we had like a video club in like high school and stuff like that. Like, make those connections, because you never know where people are going to end up. And, for sure.
Or like meeting other, at least in my specific industry, like what ends up happening is someone will get approached for work. That person's busy. They'll be like, but I know Leah, she's a talented motion designer. I'm going to give you her info. And then that's how you get started. And then you start seeing them more, and that client recommends you to a different client, so on and so forth. But my other piece of advice, and I have talked about this ad nauseum, which is that if you're someone who is interested in getting into games, like you want to be in the game industry, I think there's a misconception that like in order to be in the game industry, you have to be a dev. And I would argue, no, you don't.
Absolutely don't.
I have been a gamer for my entire life. I was an only child. That's how I entertained myself. And I never thought that I would work in games because I didn't choose to go into game design. And it's crazy how like kind of my career journey has brought me here. And the thing is, game studios need lawyers, they need IT people, they need finance guys, men, women, people. Like, there are so many ways in which you can be a dev without necessarily learning how to program. And I think that's a really important takeaway. It's just like, you don't have to shove yourself into a hole that you don't fit into. Like, find the thing that you do it well, and wait until that moment comes that you can join a studio that you love their games and you want to be a part of that process.
Absolutely,
I mean, a lot of my advice is the same. It really is just, if you have an idea, try to make it. I mean, I think even like from 3 years ago, making videos is so much easier now. I mean,
anyone can do it.
Everybody's doing it. Have you seen? But it's just like the hardest part, I think, is getting an idea that you're excited about, because at this point, the execution, everybody has a phone in their pocket, so you can make a video pretty easily. It really is just going out and doing it. I would say the second part, and it's kind of related to what you said, is make things with people. Even if they're not people that you're going to make stuff recurring with, I think it's very important getting used to working with other people and learning how to maneuver the different nuances of having to work with people, because there are some people that they aren't visual. You have to very clearly have a finished project for them to give you feedback. Or you have somebody that you feel like, oh, they're going to read the script and nail it, and then they're not actors and they're fumbling it. So like,
that's
you have
me a lot of the time.
Isaiah, whatever. You're amazing. You cast worlds. Like, but no, it's just having to learn how to deal with different personalities. I think especially in video games, I think Hi-Rez, we have a luxury of so many people have come from a background where their camera facing, or even our design team, so many of the people came from the esports realm of Hi-Rez. So I think it's just working with people and getting used to different people's rhythms and knowing how to create something out of that, because it's so easy to get frustrated when something's not going your way, but a project is never going to go exactly how you want it. So you have to be able to find the satisfaction within the edit as you're creating something. And I think that can only come by doing the work and working with a lot of wildly different people.
Cool. Well, Andy, Leah, thanks so much for joining on, what is this, the third episode, SMITE podcast?
This episode brought to you by the number 3.
By the number 3.
Wow.
Yes.
How many licks it takes to get to a Tootsie Roll?
That is
dang. I fumbled it.
Well, before we leave, Andy, Leah, where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you and chill or hang out and ask questions? You don't want to follow me.
No, you do want to follow Andy. He makes really cool custom Game Boy.
Oh yeah, the Game Boy.
Yeah, you do want to follow him. It's really cool.
I'm just HiRezAndy on Twitter.
I'm Mothbottoms on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all the things. Yeah.
That's dope.
Where can they follow you, Isaiah?
At Isaiah the Sage everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Threads?
Threads as well. Yeah, I'm on Threads. Yeah.
You on X?
I'm not on. Oh, I guess I am on X. But what is that? Blue Sky, Mastodon, like all these. I'm not on everywhere yet, but
yeah.
I try to get the same name on every platform. Just
Blue Sky. I don't know that one.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll talk a little bit later about it.
That'll be a community episode.
Yeah, no, that's a community episode where we talk about social media. Well, thanks so much for joining me on the podcast, Andy and Leah. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, listening. But until the next episode, we'll see you. Peach it.
Bye. Peach it.
Peach it. Peach it.